All right, I just wanted to make a quick video for Rollout 3's Go Live and show everyone what we have up and running. So right now I have a Chrome browser open. I'm going to go ahead and go to ccwater.okta.com, log in there, launch the Senderoo app. Select CCWD portal and launch Omni next. Right, Omni next is loading up here. And we are live. So for Rollout 3, as you scroll down the available tabs here, you can see I created a number of tabs for the sections in East County. So here's section 434 admin tab. So this will show us work that's waiting approval. There's one work order here. This is flow control station 1. This was actually put in by James LaRoe several weeks ago in preparation for some work that was coming up. You can also see there's 131 repairs waiting to be scheduled. These are, for the most part, work orders that came over from OWAM that we ported over, that were on the books still. Repairs that are scheduled. So there's a couple ones that are in scheduled status, and one here that's in progress. And when you drill into this one that's in progress, this is really great. It looks like Dave Sharpard wrote a work order this morning for some work that he's doing at Pumping Plant 1 and has set it to in progress. So that's exactly what we'd like to see. So the number of titles here, any work orders that are going to come in waiting approval will be counted up here for Brian Van Seal to access. Work that needs approval to complete, work that's been flagged possibly billable or may satisfy PM, work that's waiting to be scheduled, waiting on contractor, ones that are scheduled, repairs that are on hold, in progress, waiting on materials, and any work that's been flagged as deferred. So in addition to this tab, we also have like a crew leader tab, which will come in and show us the 3 crew leaders. So there's Joaquin, Jim Millant, and Sean Hartman. So what this allows Brian to do is, count up all of the work that he's assigned to his 3 crew leaders. And then if he actually moves that work to the scheduled, I kind of set these as green. Green means go, right? These are the go jobs. The crew leaders can then switch a individual scheduled job to in progress. It'll show up here in the blue in progress tiles. And then if they put the work on hold, it'll come down here, red stop, hold, right? So we got green go, red stop, and then blue is in progress. And then the grand total of everything assigned to that crew leader will be counted up here. I did similar things for the mechanical crew, right? So here's Russ Westman, here's Dino, here's Dave Sharper. You can see this is the one that we have one that's assigned to Dave Sharper. This is the Pumping Plant 1, and that is also in progress. So this isn't 2 different work orders. You could have 100 work orders assigned to Dave, 10 work orders that are scheduled to Dave, which would be 10 of those 100. And then one of those 10, when he moves it to in progress, that 10 would drop to a 9, the 0 would go to a 1. So that's how it kind of flows through these tiles. So I've done the same thing for all of the mechanical staff under Brian Van Seal, and then the same thing for instrument staff and electrical staff. Now, obviously, you see a lot of zeros here. This is because this is Brian's first day back after 2 weeks off. We haven't really gone through his training yet. He's still catching up on all of his emails and voicemails and all of that sort of stuff. So we'll be spending some serious time tomorrow getting some things scheduled and assigned out to his staff. And then site inspections. This is the only PM we have up and running for East County maintenance right now. So there will be a number of site inspections that will cycle that will be due in June. So all of his site inspections will cycle. They'll already be waiting for schedule right here, and then he would be able to select those and then update them to scheduled and who he wants assigned to that work. So this will be the way we manage the site inspection PMs, the monthly site inspection PMs for East County. I've done something similar uh, for Brian Sweeney, right? Waiting approval, approved in planning, environmental hold, some work that's waiting to be scheduled. Again, this is the stuff that came in uh, from OWAM and ported over, awaiting materials. So basically the same sort of setup. In this case, he needed a few more um, statuses being tracked. So we ended up with 2 admin pages to capture all the statuses I believed he would need. And then I did the same thing with his staff. And in this case, right now, only Jeff Chavez is licensed. So we're only tracking the one licensed user um, for 435. 433, this is Charlie. Again, did the same thing for his admin tab, a number of statuses that were tracking automatically. You can see this morning that Charlie actually went in, wrote some mowing and weed eating and slope mowing work orders. We can even go ahead and double click that, and you can see where those are along the canal that he wrote. And then we have, again, the same tabs, the same kind of color schemes here. So you can see there's one assigned to Fowler. He also has that one scheduled. So Matt can actually see that, he's actually being asked to do this. Um, and then on the crew, Johnny Eskew's here, Dan Hilsenegger is here, um, Jared Volkner's here, right? So he has crew enough that we have a couple tabs for crew. So you can see that there's Mr. Brown there has a work order, and again you can see what that work order is, where it is along the canal. So Charlie can keep track of where his folks are. If we were to change the status of this schedule to in progress, again this would go down to a 0. This would go up to a 1. I've also created a couple tabs for RB water treatment plant and City of Brentwood water treatment plant. So if you go into RB water treatment plant, you can see here's any work that has the term RB WTP in the description and is waiting approval will show up here. Um, this tab shows all work orders regardless of status, so long as it has RB WTP in it. So you can see to make these tiles work, we actually have to embed that RB WTP in there, which is pretty much consistent with how we write all of our work orders. The description is always the location dash short description of what the work type is. So you can see these 11 count up because they all have RBWTP. It doesn't have to start with RBWTP, but for consistency's sake, we should. So that's all work orders. If I open one of these up, I can see that it's waiting to be scheduled. So this is waiting approval, all when they are scheduled, when they're in progress. If it's waiting on a contract or waiting on materials, or if it's completed, it would count up here. So we could see some completed ones. When the time functionality comes online, I'll be able to go in here and say, hey, I don't want to see all historical work orders that have been completed for RB. I could come in here and say, show me, work that's been completed this month, and then it'll keep a rolling list of work that's been completed in the last month. That may be enough. Enough history to kind of keep on track of what has broken and has come back online in the last month. So, and we can make multiple tiles here. We can do like a, this week, this month, this quarter, this year, that we can make them, multiple completed tiles with different time frames if we want. Did the same thing with City of Brentwood. Again, it has to have CBWTP in the description, and then it'll count up here whether it's waiting approval. So this is the way that a user at the plant could put a work order in waiting approval, going to say section 434, owned by Brian Van Seal, asking for a repair, and we can see from the plant operators can see, okay, this work order is still waiting approval. Okay, now it's no longer waiting approval. It's been scheduled, or it's in progress, or it's been completed, right? So this is just a little bit of a way. And then, of course, we kind of got this catch-all of, tile here. So you could like really click on that tile, get this results list. And, let's say we know that it was a filter work order. I could just use the contextual search here um, to then further drill down. Like if this was instead of 10, if it was 1,000, and I'm only looking for stuff that's filter, I just put in the word filter, it would show me only the ones that have filter in it. So, using the contextual search, we can drill even further down into the list here. Did a couple tabs for LV. Again, this is working the same way as the treatment plants. It basically needs to have LVO in the title. And if I were to rewrite this, I would suggest that we put LVO dash treatment system leak. Just put that at the beginning and keep it sort of consistent that way. But again, if it's waiting approval and it has LVO in the description, it'll be here. This is all work orders that have LVO in them. Ones that are scheduled, in progress, ones that are on environmental hold, waiting on contractor, waiting on materials, on hold for any reason, and then completed. Did the same thing for Marina. You'll see it needs to have LVM in the description, LV Marina. Same thing for LVIC. Again, we're looking for anything that has LVIC in it. Same statuses we're tracking here. And then I built one of these for Southeast. So really how these are working, if we come in here to the query, right? It basically has to have LVSE in the title. So we can go LVSE and it'll count it up here if it's waiting approval, right? All LVSE work orders here. But then I got a little bit, I drilled in a little bit further on these tiles where I came in and said it needs to be in all the statuses, right? And then it must contain LVSE and it must contain the word pond. So this would break out any LV Southeast quadrant that has anything to do with work on a pond. Same thing here, LVSE for trails, LVSE for mowing, and then all LVSE completed work orders here. So we can have all work orders here. Maybe this is 10 and we have 5 on ponds, 4 on trails, and 1 on mowing. It would break those 10 down as long as they have the word pond, trail, or mow in the description. And again, you can see here it's LVSE and contains mow. So if somebody put mow or mowing or mowed, it's really just looking for MOW. So it doesn't have to be the entire word. So we're going to see how this works out for LV. Hopefully if this actually punches the ticket, I'll create one for Southwest, Northeast, Northwest, and track them the same ways and basically split LV up into quadrants. And then in addition to that, office, marina, interpretive center. If we need to do more sections, we can do that. And I can set them up the same way where it's looking for those keywords. Again, this is an intermediate solution before we get LV dialed in the GIS and get all those assets actually working in the system. And then we can start tracking things differently where we're not so reliant on somebody putting keywords in a description. Again, that introduces the ability to have some user error, mistyping, something like that, forget to do it. It just leaves us open to a little bit of, error that we could be running into. So as we get our permanent solutions in place, this will tighten up so that there's really no way for a work order to fall through the cracks. So anyways, I just wanted to show this list of tabs and tiles that I've made for Rollout 3 for East County. And you can remember, if you want to take any of these tabs, you can grab it, drag it up and down the list. You see how the 434 admin's moving. So you can drag these to wherever you want them to be. If you want to drag them up to the top so you can see your stuff at the top, you can go ahead and do that. Or you can just, again, scroll through the list, pick the one you want, and let it load up and look at it. There is a little bit of a bug here we're working on. You see how they have the load animation, the little 3 dots that are bouncing. Sometimes when the count is actually 0, the load animation won't stop. If you click on the you can see how it's then finishing the load and putting 0. It seems like anything that has an actual count other than 0 loads up right away. So if it does get stuck, you can click from tile to tile and just have it load your zeros. But again, this is a logged bug, and we are going to get that resolved as soon as possible. Okay, well, if there's any questions, feel free to get a hold of me. Thank you so much.